Welcome back, welcome back. Let's jump into this.
The Fool is one of the most relatable, intriguing, and recurring figures in the world. There have been fools who have caused surprise and laughter since time immemorial. We worship folly by seeing it in people and in the world, and by willingly displaying it in ourselves. It is one of the timeless archetypes which we all inherit at birth. Many of us suffer from the absence of the fool in our lives. Frenetic and upright, we take ourselves too seriously, trying so hard to conform to a world which promotes workaholism, efficiency, and productivity, that we might as well be cogs in a machine. As William Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Forgetting that playfulness is a basic human need, we wonder why we so easily become bored and exhausted, losing all capacity for spontaneity, authenticity, and passion.
When I heard the phrase, all the world is a stage and everyone's a player, an actor, we're all actors in a stage. See, when I heard that as a kid, I wanted to act. And I took offense to that because I wasn't acting, because I'm truthful. And it always stuck in my mind, like, how far does that go? Because this man lived all the way back then, and people, they liked the things he said, they liked the things he did, they believed the things he said, they considered him a very wise man. So I chose to believe all the people that, made him still get talked about after he's gone. And I need to think about this, because that's the deepest thing I've ever heard in my life. All the world's a stage, and everyone's an actor in it.
The antidote to this would be to give the fool archetype some space in our lives. To be in a balance and not become excessively foolish and irresponsible, we need to develop the archetype of the sage, who, despite being wise, recognizes the limits of his knowledge and can laugh at himself every now and then. Archetypes are not part of a mechanical system, but pieces of life itself, images that are integrally connected to the living individual by the bridge of the emotions. The character of the fool is complex, and various characteristics have been attributed to the fool: that he is dull-witted, inarticulate, unable to conform to the conventional standards of behavior, and that he has a natural simplicity and innocence of heart. The derivation of the word fool is the Latin follus, meaning a pair of bellows expelling empty air. Extended to people, it implies an empty-headed person with insubstantial thoughts. At the same time, bellows furnish the oxygen needed for combustion, in much the same way that the fool fires us up. In 1511, the Dutch scholar Erasmus published in
Excuse me, Ratmos, whatever your name is. Wouldn't you consider a fool like a joker? But this fool that they're talking about says he's not doing bad stuff like Joker does. Joker, Batman. And don't I keep saying reverse Joker? Fool.
Face of Folly, which became hugely popular and is a profoundly penetrating examination of the fool in Western literature. Folly introduces herself, and since nobody ever praises Folly, she begins by praising herself, arguing that life would be dull without her. Folly criticizes everyone, and Erasmus's close friends warned him of the possible dangers of attacking the church. However, even religious figures found the work amusing. Friendship and marriage contain a certain amount of folly, because we tend to overlook the defects of our friends and loved ones and consider them small vices in comparison to other people. Intellectuals are foolish in their pursuit of knowledge, spending years going to the library, doing research, thinking that what they're doing is tremendously important, so that a few other intellectuals over a century will read their book and think very highly of it. Folly compares philosophers to theatre critics, who unmask the characters on stage and ruin the actor's performance. They are boring and annoying. Philosophers don't seem to understand how the illusions that help make life more bearable are useful, even if they distort reality. The fool seems to be infinitely freer and happier than those who are burdened by wisdom. They are the life of the party. Fools always speak the truth because they lack the wisdom to craft lies and seek to manipulate others. In essence, there's nothing that can make life happier than the joy that accompanies laughter and play. Folly is not merely universal, but necessary and even desirable to humanity. To be a person is nothing other than to play the fool, and to acknowledge this very fact is the highest form of wisdom.
Will you fight the darkness?
Really?
At TD Bank, we see the story behind every transaction.
Had all the commercials, right?
Like yesterday, when this grandma went big for Nate.
The fool represents a nostalgic return to a simpler way of life, a wisdom that comes not from the mind, but from the heart. Sometimes the down-to-earth and simple-minded, in their purity of heart, can penetrate to profounder truths than those encumbered with learning and convention. In the same way, we sometimes sense more resonant truth in popular proverbs than in rational exposition. Russian writer Fyodor Dostoevsky writes, "The wisest of all, in my opinion, is he who can, if only once a month, call himself a fool, a faculty unheard of nowadays." In literature, wise characters sometimes depict insanity, and madmen express wisdom. The oxymoron, wise fool, is a literal paradox where the character who is identified as a fool comes to be regarded as the beholder of wisdom. People sometimes accuse wise people of insanity in order to conceal their unwanted wisdom, either fearing the harsh words on many controversial topics, or simply to punish them for speaking boldly. The archetypal wise fool is Socrates. Not only was his educational method based on exposing the folly of the supposedly wise, but he himself claimed that his own wisdom was derived from an awareness of his ignorance. Knowledge of ignorance is itself a kind of knowledge. As Shakespeare writes, "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool." There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, the other is to refuse to believe what is true. When there's an uncomfortable truth that needs to be spoken, and those in power are afraid to speak about it, it is usually the fool who steps in. There's something heroic about this. It is the fool who speaks a truth.
I was just thinking about that the other day. Willful ignorance. Meaning exactly what he just said. You're ignorant because you don't know. So that's not a bad thing. We all gotta find out. And then, if you want to know, you have to search, you have to look. And then there's willful ignorance where you're just like, I don't care. I don't care. That's not a good thing to be willfully ignorant.
Truth nobody else dares to utter, and this brings instant relief because people know it has to be said. Generally speaking, we can distinguish between two types of fools: the natural fool, who lacks social awareness and occasionally utters the truth, being unaware of social conventions, and the professional fool, whose job it is to make harsh truths more palatable by disguising them with humor and wit. One follows his heart, the other his mind. The greatest fools are oftentimes cleverer than the people who laugh at them. The fool is fearless in speaking the truth. In fact, the great secret of the successful fool is that he's no fool at all. As the great English visionary artist William Blake writes, "If the fool would persist in his folly, he would become wise." The fool, the clown, and the trickster share similar traits. They are sources of humor, inevitably eliciting laughter, serving as catalysts for comic catharsis. However, they also express a duality, folly and non-folly, order and disorder. What may seem like a joke can in fact be a warning. Danish theologian and philosopher Søren Kierkegaard writes, A fire broke out backstage in a theater. The clown came out to warn the public. They thought it was a joke and applauded. He repeated it. The acclaim was even greater. I think that's just how the world will come to an end, to general applause from wits who believe it's a joke.
And that leads me to this.
It is shaping up to be one of the worst fire seasons on record in Canada. There are currently 429 fires burning right now across the country. 247 are out of control. 26,000 people are still under evacuation, and there are 1,000 firefighters from other countries, including South Africa and Australia, helping fight all those fires. The worst situation right now is in Quebec, where more than 160 wildfires are burning.
In my hometown, there's a lot of smoke again, and it's not safe for everyone.
The situation is particularly dire in the Abitibi region, where a cocktail of hot temperatures and low humidity have turned the northern part of the province into an extreme fire zone. More than 40 fires are burning there, and with too few crews and not enough water bombers, Quebec Premier François Legault admits that they may have to let some small communities burn.
There's no forecast of rain in Abitibi for the next 5 days, so that's what make us making sure that we.
So here's that air quality alert. This goes all the way out to Washington counties, and it goes all the way through southern Maryland and the eastern shore. This is for unhealthy levels of air pollution as a result of the smoke from those wildfires in Ontario and Quebec. Speaking of that, we still have a northerly wind at the surface and aloft, and as a result of that, the smoke on a northerly wind is going to get pulled southward. So as long as this pattern remains in place, which likely will be through tomorrow and through Thursday, it's going to keep driving more plumes of smoke our way. And notice here through later tomorrow, there's more of it headed our way. We're probably not going to see a change in the upper level winds to get this smoke out of here until the weekend, and that's when things should improve across our area.
So I'm supposed to go to work in that, right? Right? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, boy. I don't think my father's happy. I don't think my father's happy at all. And it's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. Kind of made that video
I will be a travel influencer.
Native American prophecy and Bible prophecy are the same. I could be wrong. Haven't been wrong in a long time. And there's a whole lot of anger that I feel right now. And I hold myself back. Because I don't want to feel special. I don't want to say certain things and be misunderstood. Because I'm not sure myself. But I'm starting to notice I say a lot and I watch myself. And then things happen. I don't care what my father made me. What I do care about is what he taught me. And he taught me the hard way. told me to survive. Or of little or nothing. And I always thought it was a curse, which it is. But when everybody has little to nothing, and you can outwork everybody, and it's just another day for you, it's no longer a curse. It's a blessing. I suggest everybody leave me the fuck alone. Leave us alone. I don't know who us is. And all that big mystery shit. And I'm nobody, I'm just some guy. But my father isn't. He's the one. And I don't think he's happy. And I've said a lot of things about, what the Bible says. So all I've ever done is report. A news report. A spiritual news reporter. So for those watching, pray to the Creator. Pray for wisdom. Pray for understanding. Even I, like I said in my first video, even I got a long way to go. And I don't feel like he's happy with me either. But I still do the work. I still try. So much I want to say. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm just a fool. Just an idiot. Just some black guy. But my father isn't. He's so much more. And I fear him. That's why I don't fear any of you. Because the Bible said, why fear a man or anything in the world that can kill your body, when eventually you gotta face the one that has to choose to kill your soul or not. Very deep thing to think about when you actually think about it. I think people need to play nice. I think people need to play fair for a little bit. Keep saying it over and over. All love, all praise to the Most High. Adonai Heya Heya Ohave you. Ohave me.